We are live. This is the market update. Today, we will discuss crypto conviction. What are you going to do the next time the market goes down 3 or 4%? Are you going to freak out? Well, every time the market does go down 3 or 4%, I'm going to confess, sometimes I freak out. Not this time. Not this time. I have done a lot of recent, call it GAN TA. And I think we're on the verge of something really big. And if you want to hear the ultimate laugher, it could actually get started with Nvidia earnings. In other words, I don't know if you know this, but in legacy, the end of the world has been canceled or has been postponed indefinitely, which I think is a miracle for altcoins, an absolute miracle. And I was watching another YouTuber yesterday, and this guy said, very apropos, that this feels like fall 2023, where everyone is asleep and everything is dead and it all looks like it's over. All the hype is somewhere else. And then you just wake up one day and it's a 10x. I'm hoping it's Nvidia earnings. It could be something. I hope it's something AI related. I'm getting ready. All right, let's welcome who's here. We have DH and Zav. Welcome. My Hits, Thomas. Ben, what's up? Blown Ideas. Sir, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. Trying to impart all the wisdom I can. Shelly, Malik, Tim, Tyler, Jelster, Malik, top AI coins. Okay, well, definitely artificial super intelligence token, right? I was actually just listening to the man. Let me share the screen. It's amazing how many projects folded itself into artificial super intelligence token. I mean, wow. You absolutely have to have it. AI Tech is another one, and OLAS is another AI marketplace. And some of these small coins are like dead. I mean, it's definitely winter over there. So I know that was a really fast answer to a question, but dude, Tau, render. I mean, dude, if you can't figure out what to do that stuff. Just do it, right? It's like, gee, in 2021, if you had bought, all the big cap cryptos when this thing like completely melted up, you did okay. You did, right? This may not have to be a rocket science play, but you can throw these small cap AI coins in there because, like I said, this particular AI boom. I mean, I just read something where this guy thinks chatbots themselves, like not AGI, not artificial general intelligence, chatbots themselves can create a labor market disruption. Now, if that's true, then you better buy digital assets. You better invest in anything you can get your hands on in AI. I have said this and will continue to do. Honest is here. What's going on? Metal Tempest. Good morning. News. Let's go. Okay. Federal spending actually fell last quarter because we stopped writing checks to the military complex, because of what's going on in Eastern Europe. Well, I'm supposing that's going to change soon, right? Because forces over there are taking advantage of our imagination of art of the deal applying to those people. Federal spending is out of control, and the Fed is going to have to print money to accommodate the expansion that they want to do. But they're going to do it, I think. They're going to do it. I mean, everything Donnie T wants, Donnie T has gotten. And everyone says it, like everyone said the tariffs were bad. And guess what? They are not. And we talked about this. I was on with the Kaizen podcast guys. I'm like, this is not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. The whole world blows up. And I'm like, it's not bad. Goldman kills the right tail, no longer expects sustained tariff inflation. So everyone got hysterical. Oh my God, tariffs. Everything's going up in price. Oh my God, inflation. Wait, you mean tariffs are a negative demand shock? Meaning when there are tariffs, people don't buy stuff? Just as Minneapolis Fed researcher Javier Bianchi wrote, and not a person at the Fed read it. Tariffs are not inflationary. Tariffs may not be a good idea because they reduce demand, but they're not inflationary. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the Fed continues to print. The Fed allowed M2 to grow again. It blew past previous high watermark. Expect new records each month from here on out. It's flying, right? Absolutely flying. The Feds are letting it fly. The Treasury's letting it fly. Congress is letting it fly. It's got to be crypto, baby. It's got to be. Ethereum's co-founder responds to Sweden's cashless society rethink. Now, I love this at every level. First of all, it's a reframe. Ethereum is trying to get control of some of the crypto narrative, right? We have a nice little, kind of like weight gain for Vitalik, not the pencil neck look. Something like, hey, we can help. Nordics are walking back to cashless society. What did I do? How Ethereum can play a role in a crisis. They're going to put everything on chain. I swear to God. And when they do, it's going to be a volcano. In other words, sometimes you do a pep talk. Sometimes you're passionate. And sometimes you just sit here and say, it's going up massively. I don't care, right? Seriously. Like, all the narratives are out there. All of the AI agents can start issuing new coins, or even AI and DeFi. It's just any way you look at this. It's not hard to see how there could be an event. And again, if they want to go to a cashless society, you should move to crypto. I love Doomberg. Isn't it great? What would the morning show be without Doomberg? Wall Street can't beat Michael Saylor's runaway crypto engine. Yeah, they're all short the stock too. I know I say that every day. A runaway crypto engine. Really? A runaway crypto engine, or the guy's going to build massive value for MicroStrategy shareholders. He always talks about throwing away the keys to the Bitcoin. I don't think he's going to be in charge of the company. Someone's going to come in and buy it. It's that simple. It's going to happen. It's going to happen now. Meanwhile, back at the European Union ranch, my ability to discuss these things is disappearing. Supposedly, there has been a massive crackdown against, I don't know, I guess you talk about far-right people. Supposedly everyone was into free speech. That is over. So me discussing this is over. But, do they have your interest at heart? I don't think so. Tyranny in disguise. Now, this is Texas, not Europe, Texas. So there's a guy in Texas named Ken Paxton. I'll tell you who he is in a minute, but he was removed by security from the Texas House, or the Texas version of Congress or Parliament, which you would think would be a bunch of cowboy hat, a bunch of like MAGA guys in cowboy hats. Not so. Not so. They have impeached this guy. He's the attorney general. They've impeached him. He beat the impeachments. They have tried to run this guy literally out of the state of Texas. And guess what? He's going to run against one of our deep state senators in a primary. And you know what? He's going to win in a landslide. They hate this guy. Now, you may be wondering, Bill, why are you telling me this? Because folks, if weird stuff, if deep state, if suppression, if, people acting not in your interest can happen in Texas on the regular, because this guy's been fighting this fight for years, it can happen in your neighborhood. It can. And you know what? You just got to be ready. You know what you got to be ready for? You got to be ready to prosper. To prosper. The prosperity code. What is the prosperity code? I don't know, man. Like someone's asking me, what's your what are your crypto picks? In some ways, how can you go wrong? I mean, don't buy obviously dead projects, but this whole ecosystem could just ignite because they're trying to stop it. They're still trying to stop it, right? This is like the crypto version of everybody being paid $400 to go kick a dent in a Tesla door. Crypto king of Kentucky. Crime, people breaking in, trying to get everyone's crypto. I mean, crypto was higher 5 months ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago. I mean, crypto's been higher. It's like a mini winter for altcoins. Yet there's a story every day about somebody getting their door kicked in over this. Somebody looking for their ledger. It's crazy. They're just trying to stop it, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Now, let's talk about some shocking news for the stream today. You read about Goldman and Ray. I haven't heard from Ray Dalio in a while. It's kind of funny, right? Guess Bridgewater and those guys covered their shorts with Ray on television saying it's ending. Now, I got a question for you. I got a funny question. What happens if it's all going to go the other way? Like, ready for this? What happens if stonks are going to make a new high? What happens if stonks are just going to keep going up? Like, they hate it. They don't want to buy it. They didn't want to buy it when it was down. They don't want to buy it now, but they'll like it much better up 10%. It's a silly question, I know. But what happens if Nvidia earnings are on the level and they're awesome? What happens? Could stonks go up? Could altcoins follow? Like if Nvidia goes up 5 or 10% in one day, what's going to happen to the AI space in crypto? What's going to happen? I don't think anyone is asking this question. Ethereum building energy to smash through 3K. Good article, right? 50-day moving average, the 100-day moving average. A breakout could lead to significant volatility as signaled by narrowing Bollinger Bands. In English, when ETH gets quiet and goes sideways, I have some pattern match stuff I'm going to show you in the PowerPoint. There's a lot of upside there. A lot. Okay, Bitcoin is moving as MicroStrategy lags. Interesting, right? Everyone all down on MicroStrategy. Jack Dorsey to launch Bitcoin payments on all Square terminals. Notice everyone's got their Bitcoin announcements going, and it's not moving Bitcoin. It should tell you something. The bid is going to come to altcoins. Now, another reminder. Monero absolutely exploded lately. No idea why. But there's a great lesson here in that the market is still giving you dips, right? Like, so this is Monero on a daily chart. And it explodes to its premium zone and then comes off hard. To its 38% retracement level. How nice. It's perfect. Literally, it's perfect. Now, GameStop. GameStop bought some Bitcoin, announced it yesterday, and this is what GameStop stock did. There's your 13 top. Guess what? Not a top. You know what? Someone in their treasury was looking at the chart. They're like, hey, we got a 13 top here. Okay, let's blow them out of the water now. Let's go buy a truckload of Bitcoin. This stock is not inside what they call the megacorp web. Everybody owns everybody. Yeah, GameStop's not included there. Not included. It's like I want it to go to 100. I want to find out who's short, and I literally want it to go to 100. Now, let's talk about stonks. Okay. So, as you know, stonks were up only on AI euphoria because every stock was an AI stock, even though they've only got it 7% implementation rate across corporations. But here's a question. You had an absolutely awful correction in 1998. It was a currency crisis. There was a hedge fund liquidation. Fear, greed back then was at zero. We thought it was all over. Okay. Especially since that came after a huge amount of up only. Years of up only, just like this thing. Now, I went out, I cut like 1996 to 1998 or something like that. I cut out 2 years of action from the 90s and I pasted it onto the current chart of stonks, S&P 500. So here we have this huge blowout. And back then, just started to grind back up. And then it was going to make new highs. Can you imagine what happens if stonks actually start making new highs on better earnings, particularly in tech? Now, what could that mean for crypto stocks? I know it's crazy. Stonks, I think Bitcoin wins either way. But what happens if the next downtrade doesn't materialize? We got to start asking ourselves these questions. Because I think if that happened, people would get caught off guard. There are so many scenarios where people would get caught off guard, right? If stocks went down, people were like, yeah, stocks went down. And if bonds went down, people were like, yeah, bonds will go down. Ray Dalio said it's all going down, so it's all going down. Right? Wrong. Right? If Congress pushes a whole bunch of money into the system, $1 in stonks is better than $1 in the bank. And if $1 is good in stonks, then $1 is good in all coins. This is my point. Like if stonks can go up, so can all coins. Now, just in case you think there's no future in DeFi, Syrup, formerly Maple, straight up from the discount zone to the premium zone. Boom. This is happening out there. It's just happening quietly, where people are going, hey, there are certain protocols that are going to be here 5 years from now, or guys who have figured it out. Now, let's go to PowerPoint briefly. Okay, PowerPoint. So there's the SPX chart that I just showed you. 1998, 96 to 98 superimposed on the last year. Bitcoin at its premium zone. Is now a good time to buy Bitcoin? Not according to this. Better off with MicroStrategy or Bitcoin stocks or altcoins. So what I did was, just for laughs, I went and found the 2023 bottom, right? Solana ripped up, kind of due for a little rip. Then it went to sleep. Then it ripped again. You could have a Solana summer. This is like August up here. So starting in July, you could have a boring June. You know, there's another big GAN event. There was a GAN event 3 days ago, and there's another GAN event coming up in June. Dude, 174 Solana is going to go down in history as like 300 Ethereum or 200 Ethereum back in 2020. Because when you get a catalyst in this thing, and the longer we have to wait, like if we have to wait half the summer, who cares? You know, we got sucked up at the top, meme coin mania, and we've been sitting here waiting for 6 months. As one guy said it was a great performing video, and it was a great video, not because of what he did in the video, because of what he said in the beginning. This is exactly like 2023, where everybody just sits around and it's so dead. Everyone just stops talking about it, stops thinking about it. And then the next thing you know, bang. Because the catalysts are there, right? Instead of the Fed the last time there was the Fed that put high-powered money in the system. This time it's Congress. ETH. So for laughs, I just went and found the 2020 bottom. And I was like, okay, slow start, spike. And then ETH does these grinding ranges and then drops and then explodes. This could be how ETH materializes and goes up only starting at the end of the summer. And I wanted to pull this out now. One, because, you know, you might have some more upside, and then you're going to have to trade it, which, you know, we have guys that trade, right? That's what they do. But then at some point, it's going to go straight up. It's going to go straight up. I don't understand how we can live in the age of AI and all these layer ones can just sit when all this liquidity is coming from Congress. They're going to increase everyone's income like we showed yesterday. And where is all that money going to go? And right here, baby. I never thought I would ever hear myself say this, but I hope these Nvidia earnings are fantastic. I hope they show that this AI thing is alive and well. Right? It's like we don't want Web 2 to own AI, but if this trend is still big, especially since all anybody wants to talk about, what are they talking about? Legacy, Japanese government bonds, you know, the Treasury basis trade. You know, the New York Times wants to talk about the Orange Man's meme coin. You know, I didn't even bring up the front page of Doomberg this morning. What happens if it all reverts back to Nvidia? What happens? Right? Is anyone in crypto ready for that? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Now, if we flip back over to live TA, sharing the screen. Okay, GameStop moving. Let's look at let's take a look at Nvidia. Now, here's the funny thing about Nvidia, right? You could make a very serious argument. You could. April means they're going to try to take out the old high. This is a 4-wave, and there's going to be some euphoric 5-wave top. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'm nuts. Maybe there was maybe I grabbed the caffeinated coffee and not the decaffeinated coffee. But you can entertain me with a what if. And here comes Solana back towards that 175, 180. You know, we talk about that. You know, folks, I got it right here on my desk. You know, like I keep something like this right on my desk. I'm like, okay, these are my levels. This is what matters. This is what doesn't matter. And again, you know, I did a bunch of research last night. This model I have. People like the age of crypto is here. It is. Like it started in 2017. 2020 was a nice liquidity pump, but the real move starts soon. The real move is this year because we haven't had a real move. Well, as this one YouTube guy said, what was last year? What was that? All the way up, down, nothing, all the way up, and then down again. That was not a bull market. You look at the Solana monthly chart. Where's the bull market here? There is no bull market, right? It's like, I like to do stuff like this where I just like make it look like one little dinky chart. Because if it went to 1,500 or some crazy number, you'd go back and like, wow, Solana was really cute back in the day. All the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down, and then boom, just goes. Like, why would we fight this? Or why would we not embrace it? Okay, one thing you want to notice, and this is going on across the board, is everything's going sideways in like a rectangular fashion. Okay, let's look at ETH. Probably the best case. What happens when it goes sideways? What happens when no one is interested? You just wake up one day. Either it dips and then it goes, or this DeMarc code could just say, yeah, we could have 5 more up days. We could have 5 more sideways days. We could also have 5 up days where it's just boom. And I know you're like, Bill, that's crazy, right? But go back to the beginning. Goldman says it's not terrible. Do you know how many of these guys adjusted everything to terrible? None of these guys have allocated real money to crypto, by the way. Yeah, they want their customers to buy it. So, guys are involved, everyone's buying the Bitcoin ETF. I get that. But not everyone is involved yet. They're just getting themselves turned around. It's worth it to go back to the start and be like, hey, guys, remember this whole thing? Yeah, it's not a problem anymore. Matter of fact, we can stop talking about it because when we stop talking about it, the market goes up only. We know that from 2017. Like an imminent large up move. Like you say imminent. Like if I said to you, a move for life-changing money in crypto could start within the next 60 to 90 days. What would you do? I can tell you what I'm doing, especially after I did this, right? I'm going to get every single cent that I can get into this market between now and the ignition point over the summer. I cannot get enough money into this market. Now, I know normally I come out, I have some sort of like crypto-based pep talk that I do. I understand that that's part of the show, but this is different. This is different because most people look at big cap cryptos like Solana or even ETH and say, there's no life-changing money in those things. That's not true. That's not true at all. I mean, there can be real life-changing money in the small caps, for sure. Small caps can also go to zero. But if you hit this, either with the right big cap crypto, and you just sort of get involved and stay involved, you still hear people talking about, okay, this is when you sell. You sell in November of 2026. In the meantime, you just let this thing fly because the age of innovation is here. Whether, who knows, maybe Vance has an announcement tomorrow. If Vance doesn't have an announcement and it dips, let's get some. Like seriously, from here on out, like what are they going to throw at us in legacy? Like what are they going to throw at us? Tariffs, the basis trade, Japanese government bonds. Oh my God. China's selling treasuries. A geopolitical conflict in the Middle East. How many times did we hear about it? And what have they got to show for it? Nothing. And then what happens when some positive catalyst occurs? Nvidia earnings come out. Boom. Gang, I don't know. But I do know that because of the negativity in legacy and because of the boredom in crypto, it only takes one spark to ignite the whole system. It only takes one spark. Right? And maybe it's the big, beautiful bill. I don't know. You know what? In this case, I don't have to know. Because again, when I read this Gann work, I'm like, okay, this changes my tone. It's like, okay, I don't have to sit around and necessarily worried that it's all going to go to zero. You may get these 4% dips, but if these people know the type of stuff that I've seen, literally life-changing money is out there in crypto. You do not have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out. You don't. Like, this is one of the things that YouTube does to people. Crypto research companies do this to people. I think YouTube is like the worst offender. It's like, you're not early. You can't get this right yourself. Blah, 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 blah. Right? You are early. You're early AF. You're early AF. Right? You can figure this out. If you can figure out XRP, Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, you're ahead of most people. You're ahead of most people. And you know what? This one guy pointed out in-game NFTs, Pudgy Penguins, Moonpig. Moonpig might be the next Peanut. Who knows? But stuff's already out there. This is not like rocket science. I mean, the Eagle King has got me into Lunar Crush. I think I closed it. But no, did I? No, I didn't. Here we go. Yeah, zero affiliation here. Just like learn how to use a new thing. You can filter AI agents, and they have something called a Galaxy score, right? So if you don't know where the AI agent coins are, they're right here. All at the same, all in the same place. We've talked about PAL, Griffane, okay? OLAS, AI16Z was very big last turn. Fala, Chat, CGPT, Injective Protocol, a layer 1 that AI is going to use. Zero, bro. I mean, you do not have to be a genius to look at these things and go, hey, what are some of the top stories out there? I mean, could you look up a story? I think you could, right? I mean, if you, I don't know if these things, if Lunar Crush doesn't link to outside stuff, you could figure out the story. Like, I don't know. This is like, I didn't plan this today, but I have an associate that does this. So it's like, okay, let's look at, I don't know. Let's look at Zero Bro. Did I get it right? No, of course not. Okay, there it is. 832 market cap. So what narrative do they have? What's the story? Oh, well, they got no Twitter. Let's try something else. Let's try OLAS. For whatever reason, this keeps coming up. This is 700 market cap, 54 million market cap. Keeping in mind, Hot Moms went to 88 million. In case you're wondering. Absolutely destroyed coin. Generating an ocean of autonomous AI agents. Well, people may shop for AI agents, or agents may shop for agents. You don't know. You don't know with this stuff. And if you look at the chart, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds, just, at a visual level, it reminds me of what SEI and SUI looked like back in 2023. Because what most people don't know is that SUI, Aptos, and SEI, which, by the way, which all can come back, like they can all come back huge, meaning, SUI's already done its thing, But you got to remember, when Sui first came out, like, this is the beginning of Sui. Huge hype release. Winter. For, 6 months, a year, right? This thing came out in May of 23 and didn't really turn until June of 24. This is 1 year. No, and now it's like, oh, well, at 50 cents, I wasn't interested, but at $5, it's clearly a blue chip. No one was interested. Sui, no one. SEI was the same way. SEI was actually the first one that went. Sui got the publicity and the algorithms. Like, where are we? We're here in so many different places. So many different places. By the way, as a brief public service announcement, and I covered this yesterday, and it's worth covering again today. Ethereum has been in a square range for a very long time. And when you exit this range, it could be an absolute volcano. It's even square if you stretch it out this way. Sorry, I know it's a lot going on. You ever hear of Squiggle TA? Squiggle TA goes something like this. And I know you're going to say, Bill, you're crazy. And I'm like, yeah, most great ideas, most stuff that works is crazy. You got nobody talking about ETH 5,000. You got CoinDesk talking about 3,000 only because they're like, well, this is really kind of going up. It's got a bid. We better write an article about it. There's nothing else to say. True, right? ETH up yesterday. That was like the big story. I think you got to focus on life-changing money. I think that has left the conversation. No one thinks this thing can go up a lot for a prolonged period of time. Because in people's minds, there's no catalyst. There was no upside catalyst in Bitcoin at 77K. When I was telling people to buy a ticket to the conference that I think starts today or tomorrow. When do you buy it? When there's no reason to buy it. None. Zero. No reason to buy a Bitcoin conference ticket at 77K. Zero. I mean, they were offering me oh, you're an influencer. Book the hotel influencer. Here's the hotel, 25% off. Can you imagine what that place looks like? What that's going to look like if Bitcoin blows through 110? Oh, my God. Probably what it looks like now is crazy. There's nothing to do in Vegas. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. What are we going to do? Listen to Michael Saylor? No. You're going to have a huge crypto party. It was crypto winter a month ago. Now it's Bitcoin Vegas. You're going to get your own Bitcoin Vegas, and I'm going to help you do that. All right. That's it for today. We will see you tomorrow.